Good evening, good evening, good evening. As as always, thank you for joining me here. There's there's a lot to get into tonight. A lot. Um, we may be interrupted by a press conference. Um, if so, I will immediately uh, cut to begin sharing that. There's there's just a lot. There's a lot that has been going on and continues to go on in this country that's supposed to be the greatest ever. But starting off, coming from usatoday.com, two injured in shooting involving federal agents in Portland, Oregon. Two people in Portland, Oregon were injured in a shooting involving federal agents on January 8th, authorities and officials said, a day after tensions were heightened across the nation following a fatal shooting by immigration agents in Minneapolis. Portland police officers responded to a report of a shooting around 2:18 p.m. local time on January 8th. Officers confirmed that federal agents were involved in the shooting, the Portland Police Bureau said in a news release. Shortly after, police said officers received information that a man had been shot and had called for help in the area. Officers discovered a man and a woman with apparent gunshot wounds. FBI Portland officials said the shooting involved U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents. In a statement, Homeland Security officials said the agents fired in self defense. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupant, When the agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the law enforcement agents, Homeland Security officials said. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired a defensive shot. The driver drove off with the passenger, fleeing the scene. This situation is evolving and more information is forthcoming. This seems to be a reoccurring theme that just everybody is weaponizing their vehicles. For people who notoriously are not identifying themselves, have no identifying markers, are aggressive for no apparent reason. And as we're learning out of Minneapolis, giving conflicting commands. I've said this before, and let me say it again. The litmus test is completing itself. You've showed them that you're okay with this behavior. You just tried to convince yourself that the behavior wouldn't happen to someone who lives like you, who looks like you, who talks like you, who has your bank account. It's about complete control and compliance. The look that they're looking for is like mindedness to their tyranny. Homeland Security officials said the vehicle driver was a suspected member of the Tren de Aragua Venezuelan gang and that the passenger was also affiliated with the gang. So now we're just taking multiple narratives and just stirring it up in a pot and calling it a day. The victims were transported to the hospital, and officers determined the two people were injured in the shooting involving federal agents, according to police. Officials did not disclose the names of the injured people. If they're so gang affiliated, why not? If they are the aggressors, why not? Hmm? These individuals are still alive, and we're hoping for more positive updates, City Council President Elena Pertle-Guiney said at a City Council meeting on Thursday, January 8th. The details of the shooting remain unclear. The FBI and Homeland Security officials did not immediately respond to USA Today's request for information. Following the City Council meeting, District 1 Councilor Jamie Dunphy said two neighbors were injured in the shooting, and they're sitting in a hospital bed and hopefully will make it home. I'm furious, Dunphy explained, adding that the wounded pair are husband and wife. Pay close attention to this. On January 7th, Renee Nicole Good was fatally shot by immigration agents in Minneapolis. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said Good weaponized her SUV to run over agents in an act of domestic terrorism. Local officials, citing video of the incident, vehemently disputed Noem's account and called for the officer involved to be arrested. In Maryland, on December 24th, two people were wounded during an immigration enforcement action when the driver of the vehicle attempted to run over federal agents. Agents at the scene shot the driver and he crashed the vehicle. The passenger was wounded in the crash. Silverio Velasquez Gonzalez, a 38-year-old Mexican immigrant, was shot and killed by federal agents outside Chicago on September 12th. Homeland Security officials said the man resisted arrest and dragged an agent with his car. Video evidence from the scene shows the agent describing his wounds as nothing major. Villegas Gonzalez's lawyer and others have called for a full investigation of the shooting. Another person was shot in the Chicago area on October 4th. Martimar Martinez, a 31-year-old U.S. citizen, was shot and wounded by a federal agent on the city's south side. Prosecutors indicted Martinez on charges of assaulting a federal officer with her vehicle, but they dropped the charges after Supervisory Border Patrol agent Charles Exum testified that Martinez did not ram him. They know they're going to get away with it. They know they're going to be protected. I need you all to accept that anyone who has ever dreamed of taking a life, this is going to be their chance. This is going to be their chance. Also today, coming from nydailynews.com, police shoot and kill man armed with a shard of broken toilet at Methodist Hospital in Brooklyn. Police shot and killed a patient armed with the jagged shard of a broken toilet inside Methodist Hospital in Brooklyn on Thursday. And coming from ABC7NY.com, NYPD officers shot and killed a man who barricaded himself and two others inside of a hotel room while armed with a knife. Was it a shard from a toilet or a knife? Police said in a press conference on Thursday. Police responded to a person with a knife in the New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital emergency room in Park Slope. Shots were fired and one person was struck, according to officials. His condition was not immediately known. Some are saying that he is deceased. Some reports are not. So yeah, this is where we currently This is where we currently stand. And coming in, as we discussed, 2 shot by federal agents in Portland. Anti-ICE protests are spreading even further. Let's take a look at an interview from the mayor out of Minneapolis.
And Mr. Mayor, after you told ICE to get the F out of the city, I've seen a lot of Republicans here in Washington criticizing those comments, saying that you're escalating tensions with that. Can you respond to them, and what do you say to them tonight, people who criticize those comments?
I'm so sorry if I offended their Disney princess ears, but here's the thing. If we're talking about what's inflammatory, on the one hand, you got someone who dropped an F-bomb, and on the other hand, you got someone who killed somebody else. F-bomb, killing somebody. I think the more inflammatory action is killing somebody. And so, once again, let's be real and just honest and straight up about what's happening here. This is not okay. The way they're coming into cities, not just Minneapolis, but around the country, is not okay. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should understand the importance of constitutional law enforcement. You should understand the importance of not discriminating based on race and randomly plucking people off the street because they're Somali or Latino. And especially from what we've seen, you should also understand the importance of de-escalating tense situations, not killing people and yanking out a gun. And so, again, I'm not going to preempt the investigation. It is important that we do that. And at the same time, you want to make a big deal about an F-bomb, let's make a big deal about our Constitution. I think that's probably the better route.
I'll say it. That man is hot as hell, and he should run for governor.
Does he give the sentiment that we need to give? Yes. If you're not going to bitch, moan, and complain, when Trump and his faction of the Republican Party are saying the most egregious things, don't bitch, moan, and complain about that. Where are the calls for people to lose their scholarships? Where are the calls for people to lose their employment for making fun of a Christian mother, citizen, white woman in the United States? Oh, that's right. The ICE agent was a white man. So you're not going to call for that. So many of you scream about matching energy, but you don't match energy. You avoid giving any energy. And from Mr. His hair follicles knows that he's so full of shit that they're trying to run from him expeditiously. Stephen A. Smith backs Minnesota shooting as completely justified while critics blast his comments. Stephen A. Smith stunned his NFL audience with a raw breakdown of recent Minnesota shooting. The ESPN star NFL analyst claimed the ICE agent had every legal right to fire his weapon. Why is Stephen A. Smith talking about everything but what's in his scope? He is tap dancing, boot scooting, and boot licking the shit off the bottom of every racist boot. However, he slammed the lack of humanity shown during the fatal encounter. Like his lack of humanity? The outspoken host took time to study the viral footage before speaking. He wanted to look at the facts from a strict law enforcement angle first. Did he? Smith believes the video evidence will protect the agent from criminal charges. Why? Because he's white? He sees the driver's actions as a clear threat under the current laws. of being told to leave and trying to leave, going the opposite way of the agent? I saw the video on numerous occasions. Don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified, said Smith. Well, Smith, when they come knocking, we won't cry for you. We will make sure that they don't allow you to receive any type of medical attention, just like they did this woman. We'll make sure that disrespectfully, you will be carried to an ambulance by your limbs. We'll make sure that it's right after you see your child one last time. Leaving said child dazed and confused. We'll make sure that they mislabel you and miscategorize your reputation and your life's work. Take a look at this next clip.
We are only 1 week into the new year, and there have already been 2 passings connected to ICE. After what happened today in Minneapolis, this is now the second passing that has been involved with ICE. A man named Keith Porter, who is a family man, a community man, he had an encounter with an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve and unfortunately lost his life in Los Angeles. According to reports, he was unalived outside his home during a New Year's Eve celebration. Authorities say that the off-duty ICE agent believed that there was a threat, but the witnesses honestly dispute that claim. And his family and the community members, they are all calling for justice and a proper investigation. Now fast forward to today's incident. And today's incident is also publicly being disputed by witnesses. 2 deaths, different cities, same agency. And the craziest part is they keep saying this is all in the name of immigration and violent criminals and thugs, but the only thugs I see are the ones who are harming American citizens, non-violent immigrants who are not criminals. I don't know if y'all are paying attention, but this is radicalized state violence.
Coming from The Guardian, ICE agents have killed again. The Trump administration blames the victim. A woman in Minneapolis has died as her neighbors fought Donald Trump's mass deportation operation. On Wednesday morning, a group of local civilian protesters gathered around a site where several ICE agents were attempting to abduct migrants. These agents were part of a surge of roughly 2,000 deportation officers who have been sent to Minneapolis as a part of Trump's effort to persecute the Somali community there. In a disturbing incident caught on video by multiple onlookers, a woman driving in an SUV covered in bumper stickers blocked traffic on the roadside, perhaps as a part of an effort to keep ICE from passing vehicles. She wasn't. It's been confirmed that she and her partner had just dropped off her 6-year-old son. She was told to go the other way. She attempted to do so. Another car drove right around her, hence why she was stopped. She was leaving. Window was down so she could hear. We clearly saw the ICE agent get out and pull. And were you aware that after that incident, ICE agent by the name of Bavino, probably remember hearing about him all throughout Chicago, decided to take some ICE agents to some schools and release gas, causing schools to be closed today, and they will be closed again tomorrow. And why are they there for Somali residents? You remember Nick Shirley, who claimed that Somalis, immigrants, were defrauding the country through daycares. Now Nick Shirley is claiming to be a victim, saying that everybody's coming after him because they're debunking him. And what has he moved on to do? Take a look.
Nick Shirley is now walking into medical plazas and accusing them of committing fraud because there are multiple doctor's offices located in the same building. For those of you who don't know what a medical plaza is, the entire point of them is to house various physician offices. But take a look at this video.
Helping Hands, Home Care LLC, another healthcare company, present help right here. We're looking for the best rates of healthcare here inside this building because we have so many options. Who can we talk to about getting the best healthcare?
I don't know.
No?
Sorry.
All right. We will not get any healthcare here.
First of all, the idea that medical offices being clustered together is suspicious or means they're committing fraud shows a complete misunderstanding of how healthcare actually works. Medical plazas exist because patients need labs, imaging, specialists, and follow-ups in one location. This is not fraud, it is convenience. At one point in the video, he said, "You don't want your competitors near your business," but that argument falls apart almost immediately. Doctors aren't coffee shops fighting over customers. Referrals are the entire system. For example, primary care sends patients to specialists next door. This helps the providers and the patients. Then there was the Fake Consumer Act, where he asked a receptionist for the best rate. That question doesn't make any sense. Medical prices depend on insurance, networks, procedures, and billing codes. Walking away because the front desk can't give you a menu of healthcare prices so you can shop around is not a revelation, it's dishonest. Once again, Nick Shirley is not exposing any fraud, he is manufacturing outrage for views.
And this is why I consistently tell people, stop telling people not to correct folks online. Stop acting as if you are this moral superior because you go, "Oh, I don't deal with that." Not dealing with it causes things like this. Lies have a snowball effect. We have seen far too many times in history where lies have cost lives. Lies have led to entire cities being flooded over, entire cities being bombed to the ground, nations crumbling. And now more than ever, when lies can spread faster than a sneeze on a crowded subway car, it's important to spread the facts. It's important to spread the truth. And it's important to share fact bringers and truth sayers with as many people as possible. Now, with that, we have a collection of monks trying to bring awareness in the hopes that it will bring peace. But of course, somebody's got to fuck up the church's money. Take a look and we'll talk about it on the other side. I'll see you in 2 and 2.
You gotta turn to Christ. He's the only way. You don't love him, you don't have Jesus. If you don't have Christ, it is. It's about Jesus. He's the only way. Is he the only way, the only truth, and the only life? It does matter. Your soul is on the line.
Right?
Your soul is on the line.
We all walk and we are not talking about anything.
Your soul, you are. When you do your chant, your little ritual, you're spreading it. And if your peace is not rooted in Christ, then it's false peace. And I love you enough to tell you that. I love you and your fellow monks to tell you that what you're doing is you're walking your way to hell, and I don't want that for you. No, it's not okay.
If we have to go to hell, it's
No,
okay.
no, God did, amen. God didn't make you for hell.
It's okay.
Wow, what love is that?
We would love if
Exactly. We go to hell, we made that choice.
That's not your way. I want you to get on the right way.
Let us
What I'm
go
doing,
the way we
if
are.
I didn't say anything, it'd be like you were in a burning house and I didn't say anything.
I
love
got your
you.
message already.
I love you, and I'm
No,
going
I
to be
love
here
you
every
seriously.
step of the way.
I'm telling you, I love you, and
I love
I
you.
wish you well and happy and peace.
I want you to walk
And
in
I
the truth.
understand your message.
I want you to walk in the
And
truth.
we have our own journey. You
Okay.
have your own
And we're
journey.
gonna-
So let
I
us
look
walk
forward
on
to it.
each. Let us walk on each our own path. But at the end, we always come together.
No,
Okay.
no, about to have no fellowship with the untruthful
Can you
works of
please
darkness,
let him walk?
but rather expose them. He's talking about me. I'm not here to hate on you. I love you. I truly do. But I know Right now, you're walking your way to hell, but you don't realize it.
It's okay.
Walking your way to
We
hell.
okay with
It's
with
not
all
all
that.
people around.
Okay.
Okay, you
Boy,
can be
him
okay.
going to hell to his.
Okay,
I love
if
you
you're
too
not
much.
okay with it,
I love
if
you
you're
too
not
much.
okay with it,
I love you too much.
then you take care of yourself. I will take care of ourselves.
Hey,
And I'm here with you every step of the way.
All right.
Every step of the way.
If that is your
That's the truth.
God is
if
called,
that's
I
what
love
you
you
want
guys.
to do,
And I
can't
don't
be
want
out here
you guys
judging.
deceiving people. And you may not realize it, but you guys are deceiving people. You are. There's no peace from within. Only peace comes from peace.
are you at peace?
I'm at peace with Christ.
Really? You at peace?
Yes.
Okay.
Which
May
is
you
why
be
I
well
can come
happy
out
in
here and
peace.
do
All
revival
right.
like this.
May you be well happy in peace.
Looks can be deceiving, right? Spirit of Christ. Can I give you guys a word?
Too many people are using faux religion, specifically faux Christianity, as a means of having a personality and as a form of perceived domination over people. How does one proclaim to be Christian and want people to respect their religious beliefs and practices while consistently being so disrespectful of the existence of others? Even as Christ walked the earth, he did not do that. As his disciples walked the earth, they did not do that. And I'm specific in saying as they walked the earth because Christ's disciples walked for the sake of peace, for the sake of healing, for the sake of furthering the message of community through spirituality, through protecting and caring for one another, from the least of us to the most of us. So you get out there and you stand in the way of people who are showing that they are closer to your Christ than you are. The good book, the handy dandy Sky Daddy handbook, says that you are to study to show thyself approved by God. Far too many have a weird combination of white supremacy, regardless of the levels of melanin in their skin, and the teachings of Paul, who never met Christ, who dubbed and deemed himself a spokesperson. And you misinterpret the words because you haven't studied to show thyself approved unto God. Therefore, you have not collected the biblical wisdom that you need, and you're not even studying an original text. You're taking somebody else's words for translations, and most are studying from Hitler's Bible. They don't even realize it, don't even care, because you're so downtrodden in the secular world that you decide to take your spiritual world and beat people over the head with it, while you are doing nothing to invoke change, to call upon peace, to utilize unity. Hmm. Hmm. So worried about somebody else's salvation that you've forgotten your own. But that seems to be the human way. Always worried about somebody else's lawn, always trying to window shop somebody else's home. While your house is on fire, your grass is no longer existent, and the soil beneath it is cracked and famished. and the harassment and the forcible delays and the lack of respecting boundaries was so fervent that the monks had to be removed from Georgia before beginning their next leg. It does not take much to be a helpmate to someone. It does not take much to mind your own salvation, to just be a good person, to be a respecter of others. And I don't say this just to say this. As a Christian myself, it pains me so much to see people doing things like that. But for far too many people, the church is no more than a social club that they enjoy collecting certificates and titles for, as if they were a collection of Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts walking around puffing out their chests, telling everyone to look at their badges. But when they get to the proverbial pearly gates, they don't realize how unrecognized they will be. Because 'tis true, he knew you from before the womb, but he can not know you from what you've done after birth.
And everybody was like silent as soon as they walked by and just like bowing their heads, praying, and just like, it was just peaceful. It was a mind-blowing experience. You had to be here to see it.
We watched from right here as the monks came down this road as they headed into downtown McCormick. People lined the streets here, welcoming them with cheers, flowers, signs, and even prayers. The folks who lined the road here say that seeing the monks gives them a sense of hope.
Anything that promotes a better world is something that you want to see and be a part of.
For the hundreds in McCormick that came out to watch the Walk of Peace, Tuesday night was one of self-reflection and appreciation. The group of Buddhist monks has been traveling for over 70 days, starting in Texas and traveling to Washington, D.C. They crossed into South Carolina Tuesday afternoon, met just hours later by large crowds in McCormick. They stopped for a meet and greet where they addressed the crowd, sharing the message of peace. People along the route say this comes at a time when everyone could use a little bit more love.
There's so much going on in the world today, and with business and personal life, people don't understand. You got to live life like there's no tomorrow.
Just simply say, hey, we want the world to be a better place. We want peace. We want quiet. We want everyone to get along. And I think that deep down, all of us want that.
The group will spend the night at the McCormick County Emergency Services building. Then they will continue their walk tomorrow. You can find updates on their website. The link to that can be found on WIFF4.com. Reporting in McCormick, Nate Stanley, WIFF News 4.
Now you see how simple that was. How simple that was. But the competition and the individualism that people are indoctrinated into and bred into is ridiculous.
In your neighborhood, how are people doing tonight with this news that we know again so very little about?
Okay, really quickly, we're going to take a minute to get some additional information regarding this latest shooting in Portland.
Police and the citizens, law enforcement, and this is just a huge setback. Yeah, tremendous. We know so very little about the shooting. We've been trying to update people in the press conference. Is there anything you learned that can help people understand the context of what has happened here?
Well, we know that we didn't ask for this type of enforcement. There is no coordination. We also know that there feel like there are no rules. There's no accountability. There's no rules to the game, the street. And these people are goons, and they're coming in terrorizing citizens. They're not verifying that who they're stopping is who they think they need to be looking for. And so there's just not a lot of accountability, and there's not a lot of verification of the truth. And that, I think, is most disturbing.
Very disturbing. People don't know if they can trust the person is who they say they are. Do you know anything? Local authorities didn't know at the press conference, but do you know anything about the individuals who
we just know
were
that
shot?
A husband and wife. And I was glad that you said that we can't even really believe what the administration is saying. I did 21 town halls in 2025. What people told me the most about their concerns was that they didn't know what to believe. And I think that is the main challenge here, is that you can't trust your government. And if you can't trust your government, what do we have? We have, I guess, faith in community and faith in one another. And I think that's what's going to get us through. But we really are challenged with not being able to trust the Trump administration.
Including anything their spokespeople say from agencies that are supposed to be nonpartisan and law enforcement. It's really, just not to restate too many times. You can't restate it too many times. Is there anything, as you think about this, there's been a lot of, and I was just talking to Governor Shapiro about this, kind of outcries. People in cities, governors are saying, get out of my city, ICE, get out of my town. There are questions about government funding and whether limitations on ICE should be a part of it. What can Congress do to put in place additional restrictions so that people aren't living in fear about ICE coming to their communities?
So I would say, first of all, the fear is real. And here's the thing. People have to be aware that this is the Trump administration's way of setting some bait out, and for people not to take the bait, meaning don't get violent, don't give them a reason to come in and clamp down and do more, and then act like, oh, you deserved it. Kind of like that domestic abuser thing, like I hit you because you wouldn't act right, that kind of thing. You deserved it. You made me hit you. They're going to try and come in and give themselves every excuse to come in and clamp down city after city after city. Where they're angry with Portland was that we made the whole world know how ridiculous their policies are. Cue the frog, cue the aerobics, cue the ice skating, cue the rollerblading. We showed the world how ridiculous
the
these
costumes
policies.
during protests.
I mean, nobody does it like Portland. I mean, that's what gives me hope. But the truth of the matter is, I want the public to know, do not take their bait. Do not give them a reason to try and come in and do more.
I don't want people to misinterpret what she's saying. No one is dissuading you or trying to dissuade you from protesting. There are local organizations, grassroots organizations that are willing to teach you in person and online what precisely your rights are, how to properly protest, etc. Take heed to those. Make sure when you protest, have a group of people, have one person at an outside location that has everybody's information that you do regular check-ins with. Don't bog yourself down with a bunch of things. Don't have a lot of identifiable things on you, just something that someone close to you can identify you with. Get a burner phone. In the event that you are incarcerated and they take your phone, have something to cover your face and your eyes because they are just indiscriminately gassing people. And I personally encourage everyone, get a body cam, get a GoPro, get cameras for your vehicles, and have the footage able to be linked to where other people have access to it, where it's an auto or backup. This is not something you need to share with a plethora of people. This is a test for how well you actually know people. And unfortunately, this is where we are. Everything that we studied in school, things that we thought we had overcome and gotten past, that we did not believe that we would witness in our lifetime. And people who came before us didn't think that they would experience multiple times in their life. It is far past the time to stand up because at this point, we are making moot a multitude of legacies, a multitude of lives lost, a multitude of progress fought so earnestly for. And those who lived through Jim Crow are still walking around. Those who went to segregated schools are still walking around. And it is time for you all to stop pretending. It is time for you all to share your stories and be honest with what happened to you and be honest with how you survived it so we can collectively get out of this and not continue to groundhog it. Because a large part of this, the part that we don't talk about, are the amount of people who lie about what was incurred. Because that's exactly what is happening. Stop making excuses. Stop acting as if you hail from a weak people. Stop acting as if your ancestors just rolled over and took it. Because never have they ever. We are 8 days. 8 days into a new year. We have to be the hope that sustains us. And we also have to be the action behind it. And for the first time in the history of this blood drenched, soiled country, actual education and actual unity is going to have to occur. We're not going to turn into any of the other movies that you believe. We are going to turn into a tombstone of a town. What phone number? What is there to debate? And what would I fear? One of us is able to pay attention and read a room. The other is seeking attention, but doesn't have the intellect or the self esteem to create a platform for themselves to share their thoughts, no matter how idiotic and uninformed they are. Maybe you would fear being exposed as a race hustler and a fool. Dear heart, the fool is in the comment section, trying to goad. And I hustle no one, and race is a fact of life, and it's a part of it. Not by my design, not even by the design of my ancestry. We don't hail from the subset of society that created the racial hierarchy, nor are we dependent upon it. You don't even know the basis. Mm. So, if you're looking for illogical, race hustling debate, Turning Point USA is hiring. Sign up to be the next Charlie in all of the ways. Now, coming in as an update, local leaders in Minnesota are yet again calling for ICE to leave the state. And just as a reminder, as we wrap up tonight's episode, Los Angeles is still mourning a death and waiting on a full investigation regarding an off duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve taking a life. Miss Good lost her life yesterday in Minneapolis. Two individuals earlier today, around 2:18 p.m., were gunned down in Portland. So, my name is Taj. It's on my profile. It's also on the name of the show. If nobody cares what color I am, why did you come here specifically to attempt to be disrespectful to me? And Al Sharpton is a reverend with a coalition that brings people together and fights for justice for all, regardless of race, creed, nationality, ethnicity, etc. Once again, you should know the basis of what you want to spew for the sake of attention. Maybe your mother should have siphoned the meth out of her breast milk before feeding you as a child. I don't know. I don't care. But rattle me, you will not. But for everyone else, we have come to the end of our time together tonight. I will see you all tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central for the Taz Effect, daily news and a way you did not know you could use. Until then, as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Till then.